The jobs our schools were aimed at preparing for are gone. Because those jobs were low-level manufacturing jobs, low-level routine jobs, jobs you can follow orders, jobs you can follow directions, jobs that can be replaced by machines, jobs that can be outsourced to other countries. So our education today, all of us, face a new challenge. Our new challenge is to produce the new citizens. Creativity as a concept was only mentioned in books after 1920s as a concept. This is from Google Books. If you go to Google Books, there are millions of books in there. You can find out when an idea has begun to be written about. So creativity as an idea was only written about after 1920s and began to jump after around the year 2000. So only after the year 2000 we think creativity become important because we've lost all other jobs there. So we have this dramatic shift. And this shift corresponds with the rise of the creative class. Back to a proportion of jobs. Do you see this? The bottom line that's going up. That's called the creative class. The people in the creative class is rising. So now we have faced a new middle class. The new middle class, according to Richard Florida, is the creative class. People who create meaning, create content, create ideas. You look on your iPhone, you have how many iTunes music, songs you have there, right? And look at apps, like the content we create. How many TV channels do you watch nowadays, right? It's completely interesting to look. Creativity is on. We are in the creative economy. But we have been never even thought about training creativity. All schools have been trying to do is suppressing creativity. So the second part of the new middle class is the traditionally useless people. Those like Kim Kardashian, if you know him. It's, Kardashian is, I don't think you think she would be useful. Now, traditionally useless people have become useful. It's, Kardashian is, I pick on her is not because she's the only one. There are many other examples. Soccer players, rugby players. Would you think they were useful before? They were just breaking your windows all the time. Those people, you try to get them out of the village as fast as possible. Another thing is that think many of you are on Facebook. It's created by Mark Zuckerberg, right? A Harvard dropout, a sociopath, and a sick person, but created a company that's $100 billion strong based on the idea to waste other people's time. However, you have to think about, but his company is $100 billion. Then these creative people, one problem with these creative people, like Kardashians, all these people, they create a lot of value for themselves, but they don't create jobs. When Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, they created a new industry, they created a lot of middle-class jobs, so you can go fit in. But now these people don't. Facebook only has 6,000 employees. 6,000 employees. So that means every one of us, our children, cannot be working for them, looking for the traditional employment. Every one of us has to become our little creators, our creative people. And also the people like Kim Kardashian, means we are seeing the rise of traditionally undervalued talents. Traditionally undervalued talents. So what are traditionally undervalued talents? Think about art. Like I said, art was something nice to have, but never considered necessity. Music, dancing, design. So let me give you the example of food as a good example for you to think about. Food. We have moved from the age of necessity to the age of abundance. In the age of abundance, we consume useless things, basically. Necessity is no longer the mother of invention. Desire is the mother of invention. In my village, the age of necessity, we really consumed food. Okay? Everything has to do with the calories, the proteins, the vitamins you put in your stomach. Therefore, in my village, no energy, no resources would be put into convincing people that they should eat and eat this way and eat here. We don't. No one. We don't need. My father never had to watch a food commercial to choose what food to eat. Now he's 86 now. New Zealand and other developed countries, the age of abundance. We spend most of our energy, resources on what? On convincing people that they should eat. How many different types of cereals you have in your supermarkets? Do you really need 120 types of cereal? Do you even know what they mean? Well, they're so confusing, so we have to hire somebody to help us to eat. That we call them nutritionists. And then you have how many different kind of restaurants, cuisines you have there, right? Different restaurants, and it's become so absurd that the more money you pay, the less food you get. It's those places. Now, then, but what are we consuming? We're consuming psychological, spiritual products. That's what they're consuming. Chefs are artists now, so you see those things. Then after you eat, we have another billion-dollar industry to help lose what you just eat. It's another one. You would never, in most of the world today, developing countries, losing weight is not a business. We try not to lose anything. Just it's in my village. Now it's become art. It's become science. It's become business. Now imagine this food industry. What skills and knowledge we need now? We need a lot more creative people, come up with new ideas, new food, new restaurants. We need a lot of art people to come up with these food commercials, script writers, actors, actresses, musicians, marketing people. It's very different. So in essence, two things have changed. One is that if you are not creative anymore, there will be no job for you. Number two, we have come to an age that almost every talent, every skill can be useful. If Lady Gaga is useful, anyone can be useful. Now, we have arrived at that. So that's our new middle class. But in our sausage making, we continue to say, no, we don't want creativity. We don't want other talents. We still want our numeracy and literacy. We still want our sausage. We need something else. And the something else cannot be easily achieved. We need to equip our children with the entrepreneur spirit. Entrepreneur spirit is different from simply making money. The entrepreneur spirit is then that you become a job creator, an opportunity creator, not a job finder. When you see a problem, you try to solve it. NZEI has an entrepreneur spirit. You don't like national standards, you design a plan. You try to get rid of it. You try to disengage from it. You don't like it, you just take action. We need the social entrepreneurs, the social activists. We also need intrapreneurs. That's the employees. The employees, at Apple Computers, they have a very good slogan called, if you want to be managed, you are not employable. We need the policy entrepreneurs in the public sector. So from private businesses to traditional nonprofit organizations, we call them social entrepreneurs, to traditional companies, to all the public sector, government, we all need this entrepreneurial spirit. That's what we all need. That is, people will take actions, will not just follow orders or comply with the authority today. And this is extremely true today. We have so many problems socially, globally speaking. Our children can no longer simply become consumers of knowledge and compliant followers of directions. They have to take action. So this is what we need, the entrepreneurial qualities of today. If we want our children to be successful, our children to lead in the future, then you need to have confidence. You cannot create without confidence. We need people who have social abilities. They can make friends. You can take risks. You have to pursue passion. And if you're not passionate, you cannot start up some new ideas. And we need a lot, of course, creativity. And all of this are social, human elements, human characteristics we have. We sometimes call them non-cognitive factors in life. And actually, if you go to any business today, most business people will tell you that we need people who can collaborate, people who can communicate, people who have passion, People come up with their own ideas. It's not about, I need your math scores or science scores or numeracy scores. So there's a human. But our traditional sausage maker tried to suppress all of them. Remember, we wanted mechanical human beings as employees. That's what we want to do. We try to get rid of them. So the more successful you are as a sausage maker, the more successful you are at getting rid of these human qualities. So that's what I call the side effects of education. So I want you to remember this one. When people, especially when government talks about, we want the basics. We want numeracy and literacy. We want this. But you want to say, okay, I want to remind you, when you get those things, you might lose something else. You should go to your Minister of Education, ask, what are the side effects of the national standards? What kind of warning label would you put it on it? I know as early childhood education educators and primary school principals, you know, there are some reading materials or reading programs. When they claim, they said, well, they should come with an honest warning label. It says, these materials can improve your children's reading scores, but can cause them to hate reading forever. Right? You should have all those warning labels. Now, here's quickly to say that the side effects of great education systems, as you know, China was number 1 on the PISA. In every category in the last round of PISA. But China's number 1 status on the PISA comes at the cost of no Steve Jobs. Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao has been saying China must have a Steve Jobs. What we need is creativity and innovation. But China cannot have a Steve Jobs. Why? Because the sausage making is so powerful that got rid of it. China, with 20% of the world's population, 9% of the world's GDP, 12% of the research and development expenditure, but only 1% of the patents. They blame the education, the side effects. And not only that, almost every other country have seen this cost of the side effects. Take confidence as a good example. As you know, there's another study beside PISA called TIMSS. And it measures math and science and sometimes literacy by the same organization. And on this test, they always ask about children's confidence. Are you confident in your mathematics? So look at this data. We say American students in 2003, as usual, their math scores are below Asian education systems. Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Korea, Japan. But American students, despite their mathematical ignorance, they are very confident. So American students outconfident everybody. What we basically see is this negative correlation. Countries produce high math scores, produce lower confidence, produce lower enjoyment. I picked the top 5 countries. They're all East Asian countries. They score very high against the Anglo-Saxon countries. By the way, New Zealand is not any better than other Anglo-Saxon countries. If you use chopsticks, you score well. If you use spoon, you have trouble. But look at the third column. In Korea, 613 points, highest. Only 3% of their children think they can do well in mathematics. Remember, if you have no confidence, you can't really become a mathematician. You give children testing, you rank them all the time, that's going to be dangerous. No matter what kind of testing is. Once you attach a score, you're going to hurt people's confidences. That's why after this data was released, all the Asian countries reported their children lack of confidence, lack of enthusiasm, lack of interest. They are not talking about celebrating their high scores because they believe it is the confidence, it is the interest, it's enthusiasm that matters. Entrepreneurship skills. PISA scores correlate negatively with all countries' entrepreneur activities. Your high-scoring PISA countries have lower perceived entrepreneur confidence. Means they're not going to become entrepreneur. So now, I want to end this, give you something to think about. So we start by talking about national standards, about germ. Ultimately, education is not about making sausage. I think we have a simple goal in my mind. This is what I told my son, who is now 22 years old, just graduated from university. When he graduated, he was very un-Chinese. He majored in art history, which is a big problem for many Chinese families. And so when he graduated last summer, I told him, I said, I don't care what you major. Stay out of my basement. So ever since then, I have this new measure of educational success. If you can keep other people's children out of their parents' basement or garage or attics, you've been successful. So now I want to conclude by saying that if you want your children to become independent, financially independent, socially independent, and psychologically independent, they need a different set of skills. And the skills we go after will be creativity, entrepreneurial, globally competent, and their own passion and talents. Therefore, I suggest our education move to a new paradigm, a paradigm that's going to celebrate individual talents. New paradigm is about enhance every child's strength, not fix their deficit. And in this new paradigm, I would suggest we follow, number one, the curriculum would be emergent. Student control, personalized education, follow the child, not follow the government. And number two, we have to engage our children in making things. Learning by making. Learning by design. Today's technology is all possible now. We need to learn to make things for each other. Our children need to learn how to serve others, then we can better ourselves. And all of this have to happen in a globalized context. Today, our children are no longer simply a Kiwi or American or Chinese. We are global citizens. We have global responsibilities. We have to work with others. We have to learn about others as our customers, not competitors. Others as our partners, not competitors. And others as our resources, not competitors. And all of this can happen today. So to protect our children's future, to create a new education, places new demand on all of us as teachers and principals. We all have to rethink, adopt a new paradigm. I think we should stand for something, not just against something. We're not just against national standards or sausage making. We are about opening restaurants that serves everything. We're not about making child a homogeneous sausage. We're about looking hard at every child, making them the best they can be. Thank you. Thank you.